Hey Fit Vegans in the making, I hope you're doing great. Today let's talk about vegan intermittent fasting for weight loss. I've tried intermittent fasting in the past and here's the results that I've seen on weight loss and two other factors that I'm going to talk with you just in some seconds. So if you just give me a couple of minutes of your time, you're going to learn everything about the ins and outs of intermittent fasting, if it's beneficial, if you're a vegan, and everything that you need to know, which kind of other aspects it influences whatsoever, okay? All I ask in return for this advice is just smash the shit off this like button so this channel here stays in good favor of the YouTube algorithm gods. And yes, I'm vegan since 6 years, and I've been trying intermittent fasting for a couple of months, and I've been reading about it, so I know what it comes down to when it comes to losing weight. So let's just jump right into it. The number one point that I've noticed, and this is regarding weight loss, this is why most of you are probably watching this video, is did it work in me losing weight? I would say yes, but also no to some degree. Why? Because what we need to understand is that intermittent fasting is not necessary for weight loss. The most important thing when it comes to weight loss is you being in a caloric deficit. You taking in less energy or you burning off more energy than your body needs to preserve the status quo. That's how weight loss works. That's the fundamental principle of weight loss. And as of right now, if I take a look at the YouTube sphere, if I take a look at the Facebook groups I'm in, people see this intermittent fasting as the holy grail. And it kind of reminds me of back in high school when it was like the summer holiday and our weight loss tactic was just sleeping in and not eating breakfast. I mean, it wasn't that sustainable because once we went back to school and even like when we were on holiday or something, we obviously didn't take this tactic too hard. So when it comes to weight loss, just understand that it's not necessary. And also the way most people are doing it by skipping breakfast is not that great because we have a quite integrated biological clock, which means the meals that you take in the beginning of the day, the breakfast, the energy, the nutrients that you take in, the carbohydrates are more likely to be stored as glycogen, as muscle fuel. Whereas in the evening, if you have like a big meal at 8 p.m., for example, the nutrients, the carbohydrates are more likely to be stored as fat. So this is important to know. Again, there are a couple points here, but remember, it's not necessary for weight loss. What matters is that it works for you and that you're in a negative chemical energy, that you're in a caloric deficit. The second thing is you have to make sure that it's sustainable and that you can follow it actually long term, because otherwise it's this high school thing in summer holiday where you just sleep over breakfast. And the third thing, if you're gonna skip a meal, then I would recommend you to skip a meal after 7 p.m. So you can have an early dinner, for example, and then you don't eat after 7 p.m. because actually that's where most people fail. Most people they have breakfast, lunch, dinner is quite good when they're looking to lose weight, but then in the evening they eat all this unhealthy vegan ice cream stuff. So that's important to consider. The second thing is the effect it had on my sleep quality. When I actually did intermittent fasting, when I fast essentially after 7 p.m. And this was a huge effect because frankly, what our body kind of wants to achieve when we're going to sleep is that it can channel the energy that it has available for recovering our brain essentially. There's a saying that sleep is the price that we need to pay for being awake. So that's exactly what sleep is about. And a lot of like the REM phases, if you look into sleep, a lot of it is about brain recovery. However, if you have a big meal, for example at 8 or 9 p.m. and you really stuff yourself, which I did, which I used to do in the past, I was working shifts, is that your body is kind of focused on digesting this load, and it's not really focused on making sure that your brain recovers. And sorry, there's like a chicken constantly over there. No worries. The thing is, like, what I've noticed is that just the digestive load, it really impaired my sleep quality. So in the morning when I woke up, I was not as high performing as I was when I skipped the meal, when I didn't eat something after 7 p.m. So when it comes to sleep, it had a huge effect. Now the third point that I want to bring across next to weight loss, next to sleep, is performance. And I've also noticed that when I skip breakfast, for example, in the morning at least, when I would do it, which I would not do again because it's not that beneficial in in the long term, it's not something that you could adhere, like I at least could adhere to. Also, if you take a look at the data on the people that eat breakfast are actually thinner than the people that don't, is I've noticed a performance increase. Whenever I don't eat for a prolonged period of time, when I do fasting, when I do eating in a certain time window, I see a performance increase. Now, there's a good point to it, which means you can do very productive work in this time. So I'm actually a fan of like doing fasting once a month or so, because you just do a lot of work in this day. It also helps you increase your discipline. But what we need to understand is that our body has kind of evolved to have both of those tactics. So I've recently watched a video about the guy just eating powders to increase his performance. Now, that's not really how our body has evolved to. Our body has evolved to have the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system working in balance. Okay, so you have the fight or flight, the performance mode, and then you have the digestive mode, and then you have the recovery mode, the sleep, the feeling tired whatsoever. And we kind of need to understand that our body has evolved to have both of those in balance, which means if you constantly have like this stress symptom, you will actually be less productive in the long term, in my opinion, and you will have not that great of blood work, and which will increase the risk of chronic disease in the long term, simply because you're not allowing your body to have both of these factors. Because we've not evolved on powder food, we've evolved on serious plant food, which sometimes we're gonna feel a little bit tired afterwards, because simply that's the way humans have existed for millions of years. Okay, these are 3 things that I want to bring across today when it comes to intermittent fasting. When it comes to weight loss, the first point, realize that it could be beneficial if you skip like your meals after dinner, if you don't eat after 7 p.m. I would not recommend skipping breakfast, because frankly it will wreak havoc with your blood sugar. At least that's what I've noticed. It's not necessary for weight loss, so it's not this end-all be-all thing. Second, when it comes to sleep, make sure that I've seen like a huge improvement if I didn't eat after 7 p.m. And the third thing is when it comes to your performance, I've seen an increase, but remember that humans have evolved to have both of them, performance and relaxation. And make sure you make time for both. Okay guys, I wish you a great day. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this video, smash the like button and subscribe to see further of those videos. And if you want to get coached by me, I have a coaching service called Quality Gains. I work with vegans, help them get in the best shape of their life. Go to qualitygains.com. I'll leave a link in the description box. Okay guys, see you next time.